Hey, good evening, everybody. We're the Unbreakable channel, where we bring great people to talk to in different fields, such as the real estate field. Right now, we're going to talk about uh, sometimes the athletes, guys, the musicians, the restaurant owners, all different kinds, right? That we had on our interviews and our great talks here. And today was a special day too. I want to welcome everybody this evening. Thank you for tuning in. This is a channel where we get good ideas, we get inspirations from people that are making it in whatever times. In whatever times we're on. Sometimes they're the best time, sometimes they're the middle and the worst time. But there's so many people that are still making it happen, and it's always good to keep relearning, even though sometimes we know everything, and we think we know everything, or we know things. It's always good to remind ourselves, oh yeah, that's right, that basic thing. And you're gonna get something from here, something that will help you. I'm pretty sure it does to me. Every single time, there's always something that helps me, and I'm pretty sure Lenny will share that with us in a minute. So I want to welcome everybody on this special day. We have a great person, Lenny LaRocca, a successful, great real estate professional in the South Bay area, in the beach area, Manhattan Beach, Hermosa Beach, Redondo Beach area. He's been doing it quite a while and been doing it very, very successfully. And he's a great example of a struggle, dedication, perseverance. I've seen him personally, and I have followed him for many years. He's got great stuff to share with us on that end. So, Lenny, thank you for giving us your time in this great interview, this great talk we're going to have, which I know is going to help many people here that are listening and paying attention, because you guys are able to forward it, play it back. It goes on, of course, Facebook Live, and goes on the YouTube. You can share whatever you like. And it's always good stuff. Believe me, I always re-listen to something. Oh my God, I forgot we said that, and I just write in something I can use. So Lenny will share some great example of and motivation that he uses for himself. And this will help us all, like I said, and especially in the real estate sector. If some of you guys are realtors, share it to your friends, share it to the guys, because what better guy? The guy is honest, ethical, hard worker, successful, family man. He paid his dues, keeps paying them, and that's where he's at. So Lenny, thank you for being here. Really appreciate it and your time. And welcome.
Thanks, Antonio. Glad to be part of the broadcast. This is great.
Appreciate it. So Lenny, so people get to know you. We know where you're at right now, but I want to go back a little bit. Let me ask you, Lenny. Tell us about the beginning. So let's go from a little kid, because I always like to know how things were in the beginning. Were you born here in LA? And where were you? Where did you start?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was born right here in the South Bay, actually at Kaiser Hospital in Harbor City,
Oh,
and grew up right on the border of Redondo and Hermosa Beach, as you know where that's in.
I do.
Just south of LAX. And I've been blessed to live here my whole life. I did spend about a year out of the South Bay. I lived in Northern Virginia on a business plane. This was pre-real estate days. And that was a wonderful experience. To be honest with you, I was really glad to come back.
Okay, so you born in Harbor City, but you moved to Northern Virginia, you said?
Yeah, so in my early 40s, I was doing corporate finance, and I did that for 20 some odd years. And then I was offered a position with Ernst & Young and Deloitte Touche, two of the big five accounting firms.
Yes.
And at that time, I went into business development, basically sales. And I was selling non-compliance tax services. And they wanted me because I came out of industry, could kind of walk the talk and talk the walk. And that's really how I had my entryway into the sales profession.
I see. When I met you first time a long time ago, you always look like a pro. You always neatly dressed with the suit and tie. I mean, you were already successful before you started the real estate business, I got to tell you, because I go, man, that guy looks pretty sharp.
Well, we've known each other a long time. This is my 19th year in real estate. I think I've known you from pretty much the first year I've been in real estate. Yeah. And as you know, and for the audience here, we've always been connected for years. Sometimes we would drift closer together and sometimes apart. But, one thing that you said at the beginning of your opening that I totally resonate with is, at least in the real estate field, this is not about just trying to compete with one another It's about us supporting one another and
Exactly.
serving the needs of our clients. So whether they're buying, selling, or investing, really, the more that we collaborate and work together, then we can deal with the exterior factors like the economy and this COVID virus that we're dealing with in today's day and age.
Yeah. Hey, Lenny, as we're doing this, I noticed that there's a young, great lady that's a good real estate agent. Too. I'm sure she likes what you're going to say. Her name is Linda Governale. She sells a lot of North Torrance, Gardena, coming to track. I'm pretty sure we run across her a few times here and there, being unlisted. She's listening to you, which makes you feel good that, hey, we got the good people coming in. And everybody else that wants it for anybody. It's always good stuff here. So Lenny, so you Harbor City, but in the meantime, you lived in the South Bay. What was growing up? Were you playing sports? Because you're a pretty tall guy, so I'm pretty sure you played basketball or baseball or something. You look kind of
thanks. I did. So I'm a local product. I went to the local schools, local elementary school, junior high. Then I went to Redondo High School.
Yeah.
And at Redondo High School, I actually pursued my sports passion in both basketball and volleyball. And so I played all 4 years in high school. And then interestingly enough, and something you don't know, but my second year out of high school, my second year in college at Long Beach State, I was offered to become the junior varsity coach for Redondo's volleyball program. And so I ended up coaching for 6 years. And I got to tell you, Antonio, I came out of the corporate world. I was still in the corporate world because I got my degree and I was working. But I did coaching for 6 years, and it was probably one of the most satisfying things I ever did. And the reason why is because I got to work with kids, but I got to actually show them about what hard work and practice would do to their game. And one of the things that I always told them was it wasn't how fancy we were; it was about how we executed the fundamentals of the sport. Yeah. And I have to tell you, by execution of the fundamentals of the sport, we became a winning team every year. And I couldn't have been more happy and proud of them.
So building the fundamentals, building from the bottom up, because if you have that part that's strong, you can just build it up and have a successful coaching career or like you had or business or anything. But you have to build the bottom part, right? You have to be strong.
What's that old saying? You have to learn to crawl before you can walk, and then you have to walk before you run, right?
That's right. And as we shared a great person, and he admires you a lot. Mike Ferry, you've been on stage more than a few times.
Mm-hmm.
When I first heard him before you, because you were like doing corporate stuff in the 90s, early 90s, in 89 or 90, he just set the stage how you do you said the fundamentals, how to start. And then, you grow from there, how to do the stuff that we learned, the prospecting, right. the learning, the skills, all that stuff. The same thing you were teaching your people you were coaching. Okay, so go back a little bit because we're going to go deep into what you were talking about a little bit more. So you say you got a scholarship. Okay, you went to Redondo. Were you playing baseball or something over there? I mean volleyball, right? Redondo.
Just basketball, volleyball, right? Volleyball, and then I went to El Camino right after high school. Okay. I did a year there, and then I transferred over to Long Beach State, which is where I got my undergraduate degree in financial investment and accounting. Nice. And then from there, I went to corporate America. I actually was a corporate finance professional for years. I worked for Dun & Bradstreet out of New York. I ran about 4 companies for them here in Southern California.
Were you working here in LA for them?
I was, yeah. Here at LA and Orange County.
Okay, man, you work with some big name companies right off the bat.
Dun & Bradstreet is a big firm, yeah. It's still a big name in corporate America.
They are big name. Don and Person Young. I mean, man, that's pretty good. You got good skills, man. You got good skills. So then, you being in the. Let me ask you this part. Did you have any jobs as a kid that you remember? Did you work, or did you just go to school, do sports, or when you were like teenager, 16 to 17, 15? Did you have any odd jobs that you kind of did on the side while you were in high school?
Well, yeah, I'll tell you my work experience. That's a great question. So my first job was my brother's eventual wife, eventual his wife. Her dad had a fiberglass boat manufacturing company. And it was right over here off of what they call the factories in Hermosa Beach off of Cypress. Yeah. And so my first job was to lay and build the we would create these 8-foot Sabbath sailboats out of fiberglass. Mm-hmm. So we worked with these big molds, and then we would work with the fiberglass and the resin, and we would basically create the boat in the mold, and then we would manufacture the boat, and then we would sell it to a finisher who would finish it off. But yeah, that was a great first job because it wasn't a 9 to 5 job, which I couldn't work. So I'd work after school and on weekends. And then my next job, I was a busboy at Tony's on the Pier. You know, Tony's on the Redondo Beach Pier?
Yeah, yeah.
So I did that for a couple of years. And a little known secret on that I can share with you and for the folks listening is that I was surfing at that time.
Yeah.
So a few times after the restaurant would close, the surf would get really great at the Horseshoe Pier in Redondo. So we would have our surfboard and wetsuit in the van. So we'd get everything cleaned up. We'd go get our wetsuit on, and we would jump off the ledge of the restaurant into the water just to catch a wave or two in, and then go back to the car and come home.
That's nice. That's a nice perk right after work, right? Go surfing.
It was an illegal thing to do that no one ever taught us.
Well, that's good. I'm glad they did it, man. So, when you were working in the younger, what did you learn, in those early years, and before corporate stuff, did you learn anything about, hey, man, if I do more, they pay me more, they give me more? I mean, anything you picked up as you were a kid?
I've always had kind of a strong work ethic. I mean, you're one of my heroes in that regard. And so when I was in corporate America, really what I accredited my success was not so much that I was the most brilliant at accounting and managing people, but that I really applied myself. And I was always attuned to inspirational leaders. Like you and I talked a lot about Tony Robbins.
Yes.
Early in my career, I went through his entire university program. So I studied with him in a couple of places around the world. So I used to work Monday through Friday, take Saturdays off, and I'd work every Sunday. And the reason I'd work Sundays is to prepare myself for Monday when my staff came in. And that's just what I did. I've always believed that I have to put my best foot forward. I was being paid nicely to do the job. And I was climbing the management ladder. And so as a young man, I became a young executive within the Dun & Bradstreet, umbrella businesses.
Sure.
And they had great promise in me, and they had me oversee a couple of programs, like a quality program back then in the 80s when quality was the issue. And I did a few other things. I did a lot of travel as well.
Lenny, how old were you when you got introduced to Tony Robbins?
Oh, boy. Probably about 21, 22.
Wow. Good. That's awesome. Back then.
I have to share this with you. So one of his first products was I think it was 27 cassettes. It was called Personal Power.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And I remember one night, it was on a weekend, and I couldn't really sleep. I get up at 3 in the morning type thing, turned on the TV just to kill some time, ended up having a channel where I was listening to Tony Robbins, and he talked about this cassette series. It was 27 cassettes. I still have it somewhere.
Yeah.
And I ordered that, and that 27 cassette box sat next to my seat in my car, and I listened to every one of those cassettes. I can't tell you how many hundreds of times, because I was driving to my job. I usually had about a 45-minute drive. So I'd listen to it on the way there and listen to it on the way back every day at a minimum.
Wow.
And I got to tell you, that stuff really got me inspired and fired up. And so on Mondays, when people would come into work, I was at 110%. I was ready to go. And I was trying to be very motivating to the people that reported to me and try to inspire them to grow and to achieve more in their lives.
Well, you definitely have leadership skills from a young man, especially listening to that. I mean, most kids back then wouldn't even listen to that until they're much older, I guess. Even though that was kind of available, but hey.
And the truth, Antonio, I think you know this about me, is that I do believe that you never learn it all. Every day is a learning experience. And for as much as I learned from Tony Robbins, I've learned a ton from Mike Ferry that you mentioned already.
Yes.
And I've really learned to really, quite frankly, man, I eat as many books I can to read or listen to audible.com. So I'm constantly trying to stimulate my thinking, my thought process, learn new things or whatever. And now I'm doing a program that I think I shared with you, which I'm really proud of. So my day now starts at 4:30 in the morning. I do what I call the 4:30 club. I get up at 4:30, and first thing I do is I go into my morning meditation. I then jump on a quick 5 to 7 minute call with thousands of people from the U.S. at 5 o'clock. And you don't talk, you just listen to the presenter.
Yeah.
It's about call it 10 minutes on the far side. And then I go from that and I go into what I call my daily affirmations, where I'm focusing on the things that I want to achieve that day. I'll also then put on a book, listen to an audible.com, spend 20 minutes listening to whatever book I'm listening to. By the way, the book I'm listening to now, I have to mention, it's called The Obstacles Are the Way, or Is the Way, from Ryan Holiday. The Obstacle is the Way from Ryan Holiday. And if you haven't read that book, I highly recommend it to everybody. My professional coach referred it to me about a week and a half ago. And it's so great for us to listen to in today's day and age, where we have these external factors that we can't really do anything about, but we have to work within that framework. And the other thing that he points out is, as Warren Buffett would say, anytime you have an adversity in the market is where the growth of opportunity occurs. So I believe in the real estate industry, with you and I both in, that there's going to be a lot of other great opportunities business-wise that are going to come out of this experience. And we're all adjusting on that every day at that point, because we're just, maybe a month into it.
Excellent. Well, thanks for that. I'm going to definitely download that book. I also,
good.
It's such a great, usually over time when we're driving, putting that on and listening, or at home, right?
Yep.
It's awesome. So The Obstacle is the Way. So check it out if you guys want to get that on Audible, or maybe go to the bookstore, but probably not much easier. Awesome. So you were in the corporate world, different companies. You got this, I'm sure, better and better work ethic as being there, because they do have some sort of structure that they want you to follow, right? Showing up, don't. I mean, there's a lot of accountability where you work before, automatically, right? I mean, that's part of the corporate. I mean, you follow certain steps, but you kept exceeding, keep growing. And I'm sure you got to high levels at both of your whatever you went on those things. What I want to know, Lenny, what made you look at real estate? Because I'm pretty sure where you got. Listen, for everybody that's talking, and if you have any questions, just type it in, or say hi. That would be great, But for the people that are checking this out, as having a great job, all the benefits, health benefits, all these 401k, all these things. And knowing that real estate, I don't know if you knew already, but there is no paycheck coming in until you do something, and there's no health insurance. There's no nothing. You build it yourself. So what made you first think about it and then go into it?
It's a great question. So in my response, I'm going to cover some time here. So growing up and going to high school, one of my better friends' mother was a very successful real estate broker in Hermosa Beach. And as you know, Hermosa Beach is only a mile square.
Yeah.
And she was in my opinion, the top producing real estate pro in Hermosa Beach during our high school, during time, and during my first, 10, 15, 20 years in corporate America.
Yeah.
And an event happened to us right after I graduated from high school. We were actually walking up from the beach, spending the day at the beach, and we walked by Richard's house, and his mom was there, and his mom is Betty Ryan.
Yeah.
And as we dropped Richard off at home, Betty came out. She said, "Hey, Lenny, Richard told me you're going to study business." I said, "Yeah, Betty, I'm going to study business." She said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Betty, I think I'm either going to become like a stockbroker, or I'm going to become a real estate broker like you, because I'm always so impressed by what you do." And she said, you would be great, and I hope you do it someday. Well, fast forward 22, 23 years later, I know I only look 32, but I have a few more years than that. And 22, 23 years later, after being in corporate America for as long as I was, I said, you know what? If I'm ever going to do real estate, I'm going to do it now. So as you said, I gave up a lot of the security, all the give-me's, the salary, the bonus, the benefits, the job security, everything else. And I jumped in, both feet and both hands. And when I did it, I did one other thing that I think you know of. Is as I took the test for my license, I then talked to a number of people that were doing real estate. And I said, I'm going to get licensed. What should I do? And I had two coaches, if you will, refer to me. One was Brian Buffini, by referral only, was the name of his program, and then Mike Ferry.
Mm-hmm.
So ironically, the next 2 weeks, there was both a Brian Buffini event and a Mike Ferry event. So the first week I went to the Buffini event, seemed pretty easy to me. I knew it wasn't that easy, but that was influential to me. And then the next week I went to Mike Ferry, and I got to meet Matthew Ferry at that meeting, right? And I went the first morning of what they call productivity school. And you remember that. You practice the scripts, stand up, and you do all that.
What he would run.
That's right. And at the morning break, when Matthew said, if you think this is a good program for you, you should go and sign up in the back of the room. I just got up and signed up in the back of the room. Yeah. So before my license came in the mail, I was already being coached by the Mike Ferry Corporation.
So let me ask you, okay, great. So you introduced to two different coaches, which is different way of teaching the real estate business.
Right.
Definitely. One is very, the Buffini way, which is way different, and the Mike Ferry, which is the I wouldn't say that the bad or aggressive approach, but the direct approach where you sweat it out, and if you get results, because your efforts are good and you're good, and the other one, it's good too, but it just takes more time. The other one, you have better results. So you didn't have a license. You just went to the class to check it out. And man, like I said, man, you're always ahead of the game. You're always like, one step ahead before a lot of people on that. And that speaks up to now. So then you had Brian Buffini. You said he was okay. So that didn't inspire you to jump in and sign up, but Mike Ferry did, right? He something ignited inside of you, said, okay, this is the guy I think I'm gonna follow.
Well, here was the difference for me, and I may be wrong by summarizing Brian Buffini's program, but his program is referred to by referral only, right? Where you're leveraging your friends, your family, your business contact for an opportunity or an introduction to help somebody with a real estate transaction.
Right.
And that was really great. He was really big on sending note cards, right? Doing postcards, things like that. What I liked about the Mike Ferry program, which I heard the next week, was, hey, listen, don't spend $1 if you don't advertise. If you have a phone, we'll tell you who to, get names and phone numbers and just start calling people. So we had to be comfortable with that. And what's interesting, just to go back a little bit, when I was in corporate finance, every one of the companies that I was the controller for, they were a sales organization. And the division president and the gentleman or gal who would run the sales organization kept coming to me saying, you don't fit the accounting role, the model. Yeah. You should go into sales. And I said, I can't do that. I'm not ready for that. I like the weekly or bi-weekly paycheck. I like that I come to an office every day. I like that stuff. Mm-hmm. And it was only until I became comfortable with myself and had that security with myself that I decided to make the leap into real estate. Which, by the way, every weekend I was going to open houses anyway. I had all the agents here in our local market saying, what are you doing here? I see you every weekend. And I said, I'm just trying to learn the inventory. I'm trying to learn how you guys do what you do. So I was kind of a protege. I really saw Betty as my mentor, and I accredit her to my success and my early interest in the industry through her. But the point I'm trying to make is that when I went to Ferry, I was to the point where I realized, what? I have the confidence to be a good salesperson. I need to learn the script and what to say in front of people, and then basically do it. And Mike's program is what they call it's an active approach. It's not a passive approach.
That's right.
And that's where you're calling people directly and introducing yourself and asking them for an opportunity to see if you can help them with their real estate needs.
Exactly. Awesome.
And by the way, for the listening audience, they should know that you're amazing at it, by the way. You are amazing.
Thank you, Lenny. Hey, man, it means a lot coming from you because I know what you do and what you've done. Thank you so much. And that's why I follow you, and we know each other for a long time, and I'm always looking for you and saying, hi, man, keep going, keep doing whatever, it gets you going further and further. So thank you for that. Lenny, so you chose Mike Ferry, you signed up on the productivity, which is good. You got all that stuff. You got your license. Did you go to work right away? You were still working on corporate probably at this time. No, you left it.
I abandoned ship. I made the full-on jump right into real estate.
So did you already pass your real estate license by that time?
No.
Wow. So
I haven't taken the test. I just
did.
knew it was something I wanted to do for a long time, and it was to that point where I said it's time to make that change. So I made that change. I had enough financial security to carry myself through the time where I was going to make a lot of money, and then I can tell you a little bit about my first year or three in the business. So I can do that.
I understand it. That's great. You set yourself up for that. You
Yep.
a little cushion. So you say, hey, I'm not going to make it, but I just have to have a little funds in between. Well, many of us don't start like that, but I got you. You got great position on that one. Excellent. So you got your real estate license probably within a short time after that.
Mm-hmm.
And you kind of still looked at Betty, right? The lady that told you 22 years ago, hey, you should be in real estate. Did you go to work like for a company near her company or anything? Or where did you start?
No, great question. Actually, I should make an interesting note that Betty lives directly across the street from me. Ironically, before I got my license, she was my agent. And so at one point, we were in escrow on a house that I was buying just a couple blocks from where I'm at right now. And we fell out of escrow. And at that point, I had sold my law firm and I was homeless. And so ironically, she said, my neighbor across the street, I see a preacher going in. Let me just go knock on the door and see if they're thinking about selling. So she actually walked across the street, asked if they were selling, and she said, you know what? One of my son's friends that I've known forever grew up here in Hermosa Redondo, and we're in the market to buy his Gilfeld canoe. I would love to have him see your property if you'd be willing to allow that to happen. So they said, sure. And at that point, they already had retained an agent. So the agent allowed us to come in. I looked at the property. I walked out. I said, let's put the offer in and put this baby to bed. And that was in 1999. So I've been in the house since then.
So on that one, you still went through Betty on that one, or you went on your own?
No, I went through Betty at that point because I wasn't licensed yet. I was still in corporate America.
Oh, okay, good. Well, good for Betty then. You got a nice sale.
Yeah.
That good. And excellent. Lenny, one of the sacrifices I was going to ask you, what you did is just leave a secure job, secure everything, What other difficult situation, let's just talk in the real estate part, did you that you went through during all these years that sometimes you had points that make us or break us right there, to keep going or not going. Did you have any of those scenarios happen to you? Like one that you go, damn, man, this is, I'm going through this, maybe, the years that the real estate went through the tank and stuff like that. And how did you live through it? How did you exceed that? Was there?
Great question. So I came to business basically at the latter part of 2001. And it was October 2001. And my next 12 months in the business, I did about 13 deals that first year. And it was okay. Didn't make a whole lot of money, but enough to sustain myself. And I felt that I was getting some momentum. I was building some momentum. In year two, I think sheerly due to the work ethic and literally working many hours every day, 7 days a week. By the end of July at the Mike Superstar Retreat, I had up to 27 deals either closed or pending.
That's in July. So mid-year,
yeah. July. And Mike asked at that point, he asked if he could interview me. And I was absolutely petrified to be on stage with him. But my coach said, you're going to go and interview with Mike. And so I did. And that was a very challenging experience to be on stage with him and to have 4,000 people looking at you and listening to every word you said. But it was an interesting experience for me because when I got off the stage, as a lot of people wanted to introduce themselves to me. So I felt like I was like a one-hit wonder, right? I recorded a song, it went big time, and everybody wanted to know me, right?
Yeah.
Which was a blessing coming from Mike. Mike has always been a big supporter of mine, and I'm very honored, by that with him. And then to get to the question that you asked, though, is as we all know about in January 2005, a couple of years into the business, Mike, as he had at his January event, he said, contact all your investors and all of your clients that are sitting on homes that have a lot of equity and tell them to start to sell because the market is changing.
Wow.
And I sat there in my chair thinking, well, listen, I just came out of 20 some odd years of corporate finance in America. I know what the globe's doing. I don't need you to tell me that. Quite frankly, I didn't listen to him. And then in January 2006, he said, make sure when you leave this event, you go call everybody you know. And that's what I did. So the difficulty came when we hit that recession. Because as you know, real estate pretty much came to a halt, right? Because of the mortgage meltdown.
That's correct.
And what I realized, Antonio, was that my background in accounting and finance and the banking industry offered me a conduit into that troubled, distressed world, distressed real estate. And so what I did was I started to do short sales. I was trying to get an REO or two account, right?
Yeah.
And on short sales, I didn't even know what a short sale was. I remember I called the lender I was working with, and I said, "Hey, a friend referred someone to me, and I'm going to do a short sale for them. What do I do?" And he said, "Contact the bank, ask for the loss mitigation department, tell them that you're going to list the property, and you know the process." And I went, "Okay." So the next day, I called the bank, asked for the loss mitigation department. They said, "This is what you need to do. Send us a hardship letter. We see their financials." Da, da, da. I did it. Took the listing. I think I found a buyer within 7 to 10 days, and they approved the deal immediately. And we closed that like that. So what happened in 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, my business just catapulted. And I went up to 40, 50 plus deals in a single year.
Excellent.
And that was the challenge. And that's how I broke through it. And as you know, kind of running at that pace.
Yeah, those were some tough times back then.
They were.
Look at the hindsight that Mike Ferry had in 2005, because the meltdown kind of end of 2006, around 2007, it went to the tank,
That's right.
So that definitely, and you know what, Lenny, that affected so many realtors, but look at you, that instead of affecting you, it helped you. And I think if we go back to how we were talking earlier, you built a foundation already. You had built a foundation where you had a work ethic that you just kept working through it. And this kind of helped you out, keep going, even though many of us and a lot of agents kind of started, suffering the consequences if you didn't do anything to build your client base, get in touch with them, all these good things that we were taught to do.
Yeah, Antonio, I'd like to interject one other statement. Remember at the beginning of our talk tonight, I said it's so important that as realtors really support one another. Right? And there's a lot of negative criticism out there in the industry or the world about our industry. And so in that time during the recession, what happened was as I was building up a track record with the short sales, I was at Shorewood Realtors. You remember Shorewood?
Yeah.
A lot of the agents at Shorewood heard that I was turning these shorts. So I'd get a call from them and they'd say, "Hey, can you help me and my clients?" So I started to help them. And what happens is it progressed to the point where it took so much of my time to train the agent, to talk to their client, to help with the bank, conversations and communication, that I got to the point where I said to the agent, "Listen, I can't take time away from my business to help you. I'd be happy to be the facilitator, do the short sale for you. You keep your client, but I'll get the job done. And for a simple referral fee, I'd pay them a referral fee. I would keep the rest of it because I had at that time helping out with the bank work. And that really helped me out. And so the point is that I started getting calls from agents from other brokerages saying, "Hey, I hear you get the short sales done. Would you be willing to work with me?" And that really helped me out a lot. But I liked it because I also helped the agents out because ultimately they serve the client.
So at the end of the scenario, at the end of the transaction, you made the agent look good with their client, and they keep their clients, and you just use your experience to make it work.
Every time, by the way, we never got a short sale not approved.
Excellent. And then the good thing is, as you said, let's help each other out. Like right now in all these situations, we help each other out. Things just get better, because you feel good, and then good actions, good vibes always brings good things back to you. I always believe that. And it happened to you. It kept you successful, and it keeps you successful with that thinking. Lenny, talking about personal aspirations, what are your what are your goals for? Let's see, and I know 2020 changed right after bat in February, late February, early March. But have you adjusted? What are your goals for this in this time now for 2020, because some people say 2020 is over. It's not over. You know, I know it's tough and always change it, but I don't believe in that thought that it's over. I think we have to readjust and make it work to the best outcome that can be done, and you just evaluate it. But how have you changed this for you? Because I know you're a very smart guy. You do all these things. So tell us a little bit of us, because we have agents are listening to this, and we benefit from that ideas that you share on that. Not be afraid, but take the great approach towards achieving our goals.
Well, as you know, because you were at some of those events where Mike actually talked to me, my business grew. I became a little complacent to my success. And that's unfortunate because I'm usually not one that resides in that comfort zone. I'm always trying to push myself to the limits, if you will.
Yeah.
And so, as you know, going into the business planning of the calendar year 2020, I actually established the highest goals I ever have tried to achieve or set as a goal in this year being 2020. And the truth is that I think you and I talked a little bit about it. Quite frankly, my first quarter of this year has not been the best, but that's okay. Mm-hmm. So one of the things that my coach told us this week, or was it last week, we're going to break down the year now to a 3-month quarter. So we're revising our quarter plan for April, May, and June now. Today's the 2nd of April, so we're just starting. But we're going to revise our second quarter business goals and focus on developing some more strengths that are specific because of what's going outside in the outside world right now. Specifically, dialogue around people's concerns about this virus, its contagious element, if they have to sell, how are people going to come and see their home and everybody remains safe. And I heard I heard an interview with Rick DeLuca. Have you ever heard of Rick DeLuca?
It sounds, but I don't remember.
Yeah, so Rick DeLuca is a longtime pro in real estate.
East Coast, right? Michigan or something like that? Is that him?
Yeah, he owns been in the business like 44 years, owns like 25 brokerages. I mean, great successful. I heard an interview with him this week, and he said something that I thought was so great.
Yeah.
And as you know, right now is our time to reach out to our great clients and family and friends, and to really be there for them as a resource as to whatever we could do for them outside of real estate. Right? That's our job. We serve our community.
For sure.
And he said something about when you're making those calls to your clientele base right now, don't just push the idea of real estate. Be a real person. Try to understand what you can do to help them, their family out, especially if it's an older person, if they need medicine, food. I think you're doing a food delivery type of program. I mean, it's so important right now. And then he said that you'll find, due to the quality of the conversations you'll have with people, you're going to find out that the people that have to sell, or he said there's basically three types of sellers, right? One that would like to sell, because everybody knows that the prices are at a premium right now.
Right.
2 are those that have to sell. Maybe there's a change in their life. Like we're working with a great client that's being relocated from the East Coast here to the West Coast. So we're the buying agent on this side of their relo.
Yep.
And then he said the third one is the ones that must sell. And that really made me think a lot because back in the recession days, those were must sellers, right? Their property value was upside down. They had a loan that was worth more than their property, and they had to get out of the situation. So when I heard that, it really said, it really helped me understand the type of conversation I need to have with people and people that I don't know as well. If I could reach somebody and just have an open discussion as to if they have any concerns about their real estate position, could I be in a position to help them put together a solution for that?
Awesome. So the conversation is kind of shift a little bit. How could you be more resourceful to the people that you cross? And I think, I know that, I guess like when we as realtors or as a salesperson, sometimes we want to get the sale right now, and you guys say right now and all that stuff. But I in the Remax company that I was before in South Bay, there was a realtor that he served his community pretty well, and he still does. He kind of is very successful in this particular little town with a refinery, and his business is basically relationships, and it creates it because, of course, we want to deal with the must sell one, because we know that's going to sell and all that stuff, but we're going to get those if you're just being a real human, being real helpful to others, and serving the community like you are doing too, on that, and you know that stuff. Uh, your name will always be around the circle because they know that you're a quality person. You know that that he's there for whatever situation. He's always on top of things. You know, you're on top of your mark in the south, in the beach area. You know what's going on and what to share right away that can impact people over there. And when you're doing that, I mean, I'm pretty sure you get a lot of calls that just give you referrals just because the kind of guy you are. You know.
Well, I mean, that's what we all work. Yeah, that's what we all work for. Without a doubt, this is a relationship business, and I think anybody that thinks otherwise is not on point. So, and as you know, we get trained and we learn constantly about how to enrich those relationships and to build the trust. And the truth is that once you have someone's trust, as you and I both know, and they really believe that you will look after their financial affairs as it relates to a real estate transaction, you know, they really trust you, and your responsibility is to lead them, be honest and direct in the communication. When hurdles pop up, to address those hurdles, let them know what the options are, and based upon your skills, your experience, and your ability to lead, I mean, that's why they're retaining us, right? They want a professional guide you through these troubled transactions at times.
That's right. And,
and where we are right now is exactly that, because the general conception outside the door is that real estate has come to a screeching halt, and it hasn't. We, like you, we follow the stats every day. And here's what's interesting. This is Lenny's little read of the market. When this virus started, it did. All of us didn't know what to do. And as you remember, there was a temporary point where they're saying that real estate is not an essential business, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't know how to deal with all of the contagion elements and all that. Now, just in the last 2 or 3 weeks, showing the resiliency of this industry, a lot of us are doing things like this. We're doing Facebook interviews, Facebook open houses, Zoom meetings, listing presentations, offers presentations over the internet. So we're ready to really use technology. And that enhances the relationship and the service level that we give, you know, our clients. But as we look at the statistics, this week specifically, we've averaged in the South Bay, you know, South Bay is basically San Pedro de El Segundo, going back to Gardena, right? And then you have the Pacific Ocean on the far west.
Right.
And we're averaging, 36 to 38 closed escrows every day this week. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Even though our sellable inventory is almost down 40% than where it was this year, this time last year. So real estate's not stopped. And I learned the saying the other day, and I think it's really true. When we had the recession in 2008, if you want to call it that, it was the mortgage industry meltdown caused recession.
Yeah.
Right now, we have a temporary virus-induced recession. But that's not going to go deep and long. Once we resolve this issue and come on the back end, I believe this economy is going to pick up. So right now, we're just dealing with that troubled period where no one really knows what's going to happen.
So true about that. We don't know what's going to happen. But definitely, there'll be new changes for all of us and how we do everything, business and life, you know, after we get all of this. But, and talking about that, Lenny, how do you organize yourself on a daily basis? How do you start your day? I know you mentioned that, you know, you get up early, but you prepare yourself the week before, the night before for the next day, or how does a person like you does?
Good question. We have a daily schedule. It's actually in our marketing materials that we send to our clients so that they know what we do every day that we do our business. We work 5.5 days a week. Try to take Sundays off if you can, but if we have a listing and we need to do, before the virus, we need to do open house, we'll do open houses. But no, our schedule is set. At 8:01, we're in our chair, on the phone, dialing, smiling, and making a hug as much as we can.
8 to 1 p.m.?
8 until, well, we go at least until 5 or 6 every day.
But for sure, 8 to 1, you're on the phone.
Yeah. Remember, I told you I get up very early, so I spend that time in the morning, right, to do my affirmation, my meditation. I do that call that I told you about. I listen to my book at that time. And I just prepare myself mentally for the day. And the other thing, just to mention, is so important. We hear a lot about it today, but just to re-emphasize it, You know, many of us are working from our home offices. That's where I'm at right now, and I don't know where you're at. And so we make sure that we get up every day at the same time. We go through the same morning routine as we did before the virus. I'm dressed a little bit casual today. I don't have the shirt and tie on. I appreciate your comments earlier. But yeah, I act like I'm going to an office every day and then people are going to see me. And even in my casual dress, it's still professional.
Well, I know. Like I said, man, you're always dressing sharp. You're always dressing sharp, Lenny.
Thank you, sir. I like to be the Pat Riley of real estate.
So,
remember the coach of the Lakers?
Yeah. So, Lenny, so you gotta let's say, I forgot the word, but there is a word for that. Structure. I can't think of the word, but set thing you do every day, Monday through Friday, and then Saturday is a little bit if you have to go, but Sundays you're off. So you have a schedule of things that you gotta do. Awesome. And then you don't have to think about what you gotta do. You just follow whatever is on your list.
Right? We follow it. The current coach I'm working on has really took us through a couple exercises over the last couple of years. We could really break out our day almost 15, 30 to 45 minute increments. And what we learned is, in business, you could spend a lot of time in the morning calling a certain type of prospective seller, if you will, right? But there's many different kinds of sellers to call, right? It could be buyers, those rent by owners, absentee owners, past clients, just sold, what do they call it? Circle prospecting around new listings, your listings, or otherwise. So there's plenty of partners to reach into and to reach out to people. But we were definitely guilty of staying in that one bucket for a way too long time. So now we're to the point where about every 30 minutes, regardless if I'm calling this type of perspective group, if you will, I move on to the next group. It keeps it fresh, right? Is my dialogue, my script is different. I can take a little break in between, whether it's a snack break or just take a mental break or a physical break, right? And that's what we do every day. We just try to stay focused. Our morning hour is our money time. That's where we try to prospect and produce business. And the afternoon is our servicing time. We either service it or we make a formal presentation like you.
That's excellent. Actually that's a great thought of working a different segment of groups. So, like you said, keeps refresh because you're on the phone quite a lot. So, past lines and all that stuff. That's excellent. I know that you are with Sotheby's, right?
Correct.
I know you many years you were with Show with Realtors and other companies. Well, how does that? I know it's all based on you. Your name is really the one that draws people. But how does being with Sotheby's? How does that make you feel? I know it's a great name, number one. So how is it working in there? Help you or explain a little bit about that, I guess.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So Shorewood, which is where I held my license for my first 15 plus years in business, was a market independently owned here in the South Bay, and they pretty much dominated, especially the beachfront area, if you will. And even what I call tier 2 and tier 3, as you go a city or two back from the water, if you will. But as you know, Sotheby's changed ownership, and then ownership really took the company where it was for the 43 years that it was in existence. So at some point after that change in ownership, I made a decision to change. And what appealed me to with Sotheby's was, of course, the name, the association with the Sotheby's Auction House. The more I heard with them, I know more about the company. It started in the late 1700s and things like that. But there's something about the name that I really it kind of dictates luxury, if you will, to me. And what's interesting, our market here, and you and I know this as good as anybody, even if we sell a wonderful home, in Hoffa or Gardena, it's worth more than most of the houses out in Arizona. You know what I mean? So even our mid-range price property is more than most states anyway. So when I say luxury, I'm talking about, maybe in the multi-millions. So my goal this year is to do a bigger percentage of my business in the multi-million dollars. And it's not because it's a financial thing. It's just that I feel like I need to get more presence in that price point, right? You want to talk about high, medium, and low price point. So I feel like I have great presence in the low and medium. And I dipped in what I would call the upper end. So my goal this year is to do a bigger percentage of my business in the upper.
And then you've done that before anyway, so it's nothing new for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So Sotheby's is kind of like a luxury name because it does, make you think automatically. It's like nice things around it. So good. So, hey, I know you're multifaceted. You sell different areas, but definitely, well, I hope you sell a bunch of those 2 to 10, 20 million homes this year, at least a couple of them, Lenny.
There you go.
For you. So, what do you consider, Lenny, the key to your success in the kind of in as a real estate agent? What is some of the things you can share that you share some of them, but what is that? I guess maybe the couple main things that make you successful, that makes you still do what you're doing at a high level. What is it? Tell us, man. I know it's probably not a secret, but it's something that we should do. We don't do it, but you are doing it.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So I really believe that anything that you or I do, I think we should have a new partner, and I think it's good to have a coach, mentor or a coach, someone that's going to listen to what your challenges are, what your successes are, the areas that you may need to focus on and rebuild your strengths on, and things like that. So I think a mentor is very important. Secondly, I think you need to follow a program. The truth is that there's no silver bullet in this industry or any other industry. There's no silver bullet that's going to instantly bring you success. But I think what's important is that you do whatever you do it consistently. So I do know I followed the Mike Ferry program, and over my now 19 years, I have to credit my success a lot to what I've been taught and trained through the Mike Ferry organization. The third thing I would say is that you have to establish a goal, a plan, and it has to be not only just financially, like I want to make X amount of dollars this year, but it should include experiences that you want to do, things that are going to motivate you, right, to get up every day and to do this job. Because as you know, this job can be very much characterized as repetitious boredom, right? That and becoming comfortable with rejection. Because the truth is that most people you and I speak to, they have another Lenny or Antonio who they dedicate their business to. And you're not really interrupting that. You're just trying to find the people that don't have an Antonio or Lenny so that you can be their service provider when the time comes. So I think you have a business plan and some goals, and those goals have to be really shared through everybody in the world. Not only your manager, your coach, your family, your wife, your kids. I think it needs to really be pushed down so that everybody understands why you're working as hard as you're working. And then I think the other key is that you have to have and commit to a daily schedule. You've got to be disciplined enough to do what you said you would do every day. And just every day you're going to make progress. Because I'll tell you, and I think you would agree, some of my best days is where at the end of the day, I don't have anything to show for it, but I had great conversations. I met some new people. I've had very enticing type of conversations, especially nowadays, right, with what's going on. And it's not all about booking a contract or getting into a contract. It's about just doing the same thing every day. And as you know, the more you give in life, the more you receive.
Pretty good. Thank you for that, Lenny. So I think one of the things that I caught my attention is you share the goals with your kids and family, right?
Yep.
That way they know when you're showing them the vision, why you're doing all this work. Why does daddy get up so early? Why sometimes dad is, sometimes just trying to find something comes up and he's doing an illusion. Why daddy, so focused many times. So that's great. I think that's a great one because then you're at peace. You know that hey, my kids if they ever wonder what I'm doing, they know what I'm doing. These are the goals that I set. Lenny, talking about goals. What are your next goals in life? What is it that you'd like? I know you want to have high goals in real estate. What is it like you get? Where are you trying to reach? What are your visions in next?
Yeah. Well, I mean, most importantly, I have 2 teenage kids. One's in high school, the other one will go into high school next year. So, really my number one goal is to be a good dad and to help them prepare for life. We talk a lot about the things that we study in real estate. We try to do with them about our mindset, right? Never to get frustrated, not to be beaten because we can't win, or a day or a week you don't get in. Doesn't mean your day's over. So, I mean, that's number one for me. Number two, of course, is to continue on to a path of financial freedom, right? We'd like to travel a little bit more. I'm a little bit older nowadays, so would like to travel more. Right now, with the travel ban, it's a little tough to do that, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And then is to really just continue to work on myself and to be a good person and a good dad, a good husband, and to be a good friend and a good family member. I mean, and to people in our community, like we talked about at the beginning of the call today.
I agree. Well, you're doing that. You're definitely. I think I've been a great example to your kids, as far as the kind of work ethic you have. That you're a name that a lot of people know in the beach area. I'm sure your kids. It's a small town. And everybody knows each other. It must be a great feeling knowing that that dad. It's always well spoken. Sure, you're always doing your best and everything, and they go, well, my daddy's doing that. And sometimes kids, because I got my own kids, they don't really say anything, but I know whatever I'm doing, I know everything that I can, and they're the least ones that say a few things, and that's okay, but I know they're listening. I know they're doing just like your kids. So you've been a great role model for them, because that's the legacy you can leave to them. Hey, daddy's a hard worker. My dad, Lenny, man, they're gonna hear this. Man, I would just click this link and send them to their emails and let them hear about what daddy's all about, man. Because sometimes you want to tell them, but they got deaf ears. They want to Google, they want to play games. But at some point, it's going to click in. They're going to go, and they know already that you're a great dad. Like my kids are still little. I got 10 and a 14. And I think at some point, they're going to go, man, I'm a good role model, man, to do that, right? So I know you are to them, so.
We used to do an exercise when the kids were younger, in elementary school, up until really recent. And when they were ready to leave for school, which was only a block and a half from here, elementary, middle school, and we used to stand out on the porch, and they would have to say, today I'm going to focus on my attitude, my approach, and what my expectations are. And so when they were younger, I would have them say the words. And then as they got older, I would say, let's define what is going to be for today, what our approach is going to be today, and what my expectations are as to what we want to achieve today. And they would look at us as if we were, from Mars, right? But they got the point. The point is that before they left the porch to walk and half to school, they adjusted their mindset as to how they were going to approach the day. So if they had a rough day with the teacher the day before, they were going to reprogram how they were going to approach their teacher that day, or if it was a work assignment or whatever. And so even when they would address, I can't get this project done in this time frame, we would say, let's sit down and talk about it. Let's figure out, when do you have to have it done? What do you have to get done between now and then? How can we break that down into small, bits and pieces and bites so that you can get it all done? And so they learned at a young age that, anything that they were assigned, they would figure it out, they would get it done. And now, these kids are getting so much homework. Most of it's zero mark anyway. Right? They asked me to help out with the math problems. Like, I don't think I'm qualified to do this.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad. I know, man. I'm out, man. I'm helping with homework. I don't even leave. I said, I don't know. I can't even do the homework.
I think they have to go to school now.
Yeah, they talk to their friends, they figure out solutions, and they help each other out, which is good. But yeah, like I said, leaving a great legacy, I think is what you're doing for your family, for kids.
Oh, thank you. You're a great pop too. So let me tell you, I'm looking at my mentor as being a dad. Let me tell you.
we help each other out all the time. Just to be the great dad.
Right.
What do you consider your greatest strength is for it that Lenny has? If there's like one or two, what are they?
My greatest strengths?
Strength, yeah.
Strength? I think one is we talked about a little bit is my work ethic. I wouldn't say I'm a workaholic by any means, but I do enjoy what I do. I made the shift to real estate because it was what I had passion to do. And I don't mind working hard, just like when I was in corporate America. Remember I told you I'd go in on Sundays? They lived it for me. My friends knew on Sunday I was up in my office working. So I think work ethic. And then I think the other thing is the mindset, is really investing in my mindset. You know, we all get down, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to say that I do get down every now and then, but I'm not down for long. I'm always working on my mindset, strengthening my mindset, and don't let things get me down. And then the other thing too that I've really learned by the way, is, you know, this business can be somewhat summarized with drama, right? You're dealing with people's lives, and we all have drama in our lives, and we're working in other people's drama, right, because of what they're going through. And so it's important to, you know, acknowledge it, but it's also important not to spend a lot of time into it, because it's not a very progressive place to be. So as Mike always taught us, you know, drama's okay, but just keep it really in between the lines, right? Don't spend a lot of time in a drama state.
There you go.
With the mindset, we try to make sure that when drama does rear its head, try to do everything we can to minimize it and move beyond.
So 3 things I heard. Work ethic is definitely
Mindset.
mindset. Of course, I mean, look at that. And the worst years in real estate, your business is going up. You know, where everybody we're just like scrambling, and then spending very little time in any drama situation, so you don't lose energy. You keep your body to do that stuff. And of course, you want to wish them well. You wish them the best to the other people, but yeah, you know, you don't want to drown them that stuff. You know.
And, you know, one other thing is, I'd like to say that I'm a student of this industry that you and I are in, called, you know, residential real estate sales, even though we both dabble in commercial. But I think it's real important to be committed to this business, understanding the trends in the industry and things as such. You know, without and intentionally not going into a lot of the details today that we're dealing with this virus, if you will. But I mean, we've got to know what's going on with the mortgage industry right now. We've got to know what's going on with prices right now. We've got to know what's happening in our market, like we talked about earlier. Again, we've been tracking the stats every day. We're averaging in South Bay between 13 and 17 new listings a day. We have about 13 to 15 listings either go under contract or go from active under contract to pending. In the last 2 or 3 days, we've had north of 30 some odd closings every day. And the most important stat, by the way, is the properties that were on the market before this virus that didn't succeed in selling, and those sellers are now bringing those properties back onto the market.
Yeah.
So I believe the sellers are saying, whatever it looks like at the end of this, I want to sell now, because I'm not sure what it's going to look like at the end.
What's going to happen later? And with that thought, just you know, just recapping some of the people that kind of clicked in a little later. Lenny is a very successful real estate broker here in the South Bay. You know, most in the beach area, Hermosa, Redondo, and Manhattan Beach, and that's around the cities. You know, he does very well in that area. So real estate is still moving. I mean, we go into the multiple listing service. There's a new listing, there's a new pending, there's a new close. Doesn't matter what happens in the world. There's always somebody, right, that needs to sell for, like you said, the 3 types of sellers. You know, like you said, they like to sell, have to sell, must sell. Well, the must sell ones are the ones that are getting in escrow and closing. All the other 2 are listed. So until they get to the 3rd point, you know, and this is what Lenny goes for. And this is what Lenny gets. So, but his mindset is that I can help people, and you are focusing on the must sell people that want to follow your advice. So, you know, if you guys are, you know, as this gets shared around, you got a great guy to call him. You got a great guy, you know, his name is linked, so you can reach out to him and definitely do the best job that you would need, you know. And sometimes, you know, I don't know, sometimes you got questions like, how did my house sell so fast and you barely worked? And I'm sure you got an answer for that, no? Like objection, or how, and I heard answers is because it's not that it's what I know how to do to get you home so fast. After all these years of training, all these nights and days and long days, long hours of all these experiences that Lenny has, he knows how to get a home sold in a short time, because he paid his dues and he's still paying them. And you want a guy like that on your side, pretty much. I've always been, I'll hire you, but I'll hire myself. But, I'll hire you.
Antonio, just like you, I mean, the fact is that any type of real estate market is always really fluid, right? It's constantly changing. So we're constantly trying to stay on top of it. And as you know, ill advice to prospective home sellers is to underprice the property, right? Or overprice the property. Both of them are wrong. So I think the key, right, is to try to price it as to where the market is at the time that you're going to list it, because then you'll move it fairly quick.
Sure.
And the other thing too, because you said something that I've had sellers come back and ask me, they said, well, we put the property on the market and we're in escrow in 7 or 10 days. It didn't seem like you really put a lot of marketing into it. Well, no, we get a lot of that in advance before we get on the market. But then I always say to sellers, they said, listen, there's 3 value points that I bring you. Number 1 is we look at your property, we prepare it for the market, we price it, right? And then, of course, we're going to market it correctly, right? Mm-hmm. The second thing is once we get interest and offers, we're going to negotiate the best deal for you, right? And then once we can secure that buyer deal, then we're going to oversee the escrow process, right? And make sure that everything goes smooth and you fulfill your seller disclosures, or if it's a buy side on the buyer side, and that we get the timelines as agreed upon in the contract. Now, we all know, you and I both know that there's constantly hurdles, unforeseen things. Could be a cloud on title. The lender all of a sudden has an issue, and we have to resolve that issue and get around it. So I always say to them, don't just think that it's all front loaded. We got to negotiate the deal that's right, and then ultimately we got to close that escrow. And so, and the other thing I was going to say to you, I lighted me note this a few minutes ago, is that the truth is that everybody wants to talk real estate, don't they?
Yeah,
everybody does. So I learned how to become really popular at a social get together. Just let them know that you're real.
Yeah,
everybody wants to talk real estate.
It's always hot. Lenny, as we're kind of getting to the end, there's this one is I want to know what you like. What characteristics do you value in others the most? What attracts you to others? Like, different kinds, whatever. What is it for you?
Okay, great question. It really is honesty and integrity. What I've learned to identify, and I've become to the point where I don't want to be around the people that are driven by ego. And I know we hear Mike say this, but I've learned to identify it, and I don't want to be around it. You know what I mean? I'd rather be around people who are really genuine, down to earth, and admit their faults, because none of us are perfect.
Sure.
And so honesty and integrity, I think, is absolutely number 1. And you and I, Nick, though, when you're on a transaction with an agent on the other side of the deal, we're all working really hard.
Yeah.
And sometimes the agent on the other side of the deal, doesn't seem to fulfill, that role, that professional role that you hope you're going to do. And that creates a lot of work, as for us. And if a deal falls apart, it creates hurdles for our client as well. So that's why I think honesty, integrity, open, direct, and timely communication is really, really important. And all these things that you and I think in real estate, I got to tell you, they're what I lead with in my life.
That sure is, and that's great. I mean, I wrote the word integrity, which you can't buy that. You are or you're not. you can't buy that. Mm-hmm. And then you just want to be around the great people, and mm-hmm. that's what keeps everything going. It keeps it motivating, fresh, and all that stuff for us on a daily basis. But just hanging around the good people, and the ones that are not, I'm sorry, but you just gotta take care of yourself first, because once you do, you can help others.
What we say to our buyers that we work with, and you'll, I think, agree and appreciate this, but we say to our buyers, because representing a buyer in today's market is a very competitive environment to be in, right? Yeah. Uh-huh. I mean, I heard the story today from our lender where the buyer that he represents for the loan, there were 20 offers, and they were the winner. And he said it wasn't about just the price that they offered. So where I'm getting to in my statement is that we tell new buyers that we work with that part of the intangible benefit of working with us is our reputation in the real estate community.
Yeah.
And the high that reputation that the other agents know about us. And if it's going to come down to another agent that we don't know, or an agent like you or me, where they've had experiences, they know that we're going to follow through and get consent.
Sure.
They're going to influence that seller to choose most likely you or me, right?
Definitely. Where the highest chances are that it's going to close because you
That's right.
That knows how to work in this field. Well, Lenny, man, it's been great to talk to you. I know I'll see you again around the neighborhood, and we'll chat more and just learn more what you're doing and sharing some stuff together to keep improving. I want to thank you for your time, Lenny, and the great words and wisdoms that I'm knowing once I hear it later and watch it, I'm gonna get more stuff out of it. So I really want to thank you for your time, for being available. And I want to wish that 2020 is the year that you wrote down originally, because there's still 8 months. And who says it's over? Nobody. Only they. It's over. It's over.
It's going to be a banner year for all of us, and we're all going to come out of this stronger, smarter, healthier, happier, and everything else. And I just want to put back to you because, quite frankly, I really think that you and I come from the same foundation in this business. And anytime a competitor who wants to interview me about the business that we're in together really tells me a lot about who you are. And so, as we stated in the beginning of this event, listen, this is about us supporting and working with each other because we're all trying to serve those people that entrust their business with us. So, man, you've been amazing in my world as well. So, kudos back and thank you, by the way, for the time.
Thank you. And Benny, on that note, there's enough business for everybody. Not one person to sell everybody's house, okay? And for whatever reasons. And you're going to get a great share. I know it. Hey, listen, just keep working at Work Ethic 2020. I'll check with you around November, but we'll talk before. I hope that you're 99% to your original 2020 goals. As you remember, we saw that at the retreat. So I hope you're there, man. I hope you're there. So thank you for your time. And I know Theodora's in the background. Hi, Theodora. I heard some laughs in between, but thank you so much. And you have a great evening. And everybody, please share with your friends. Lenny's info is tagged in there, so you can send him a message, private message, whatever. If you have any questions about real estate or whatever, you want to hire him, click that stuff. Help him out. Refer to him. He's a great guy. Been doing it for a long time and definitely ethical and integrity, and he knows how to get the job done. So thank you for that, Lenny. Appreciate it. And next time, guys, we'll see you a few days from now, next week sometime. We'll talk another time.